Unleash the dog. 2Gs. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
This Halloween, Unleash the Dog. I love it. What year did Who Let the Dogs Out come out? Because that would have been a perfect.
Before this. I would think I was like a junior, senior in high school when that came out.
An even better one is This Dog's Got a Bone to Pick.
I didn't see that. I just went with what was actually on my DVD.
Unleash the Dog sounds like the slogan for Mountain Dew for dogs.
Christo's got the best gyros you ever ate in your life. So good. Take one, think to you got to have Peters. Papa Cristo Peters. They got everything. I'm gonna just give you a rundown of some of my favorites. They got tzatziki. Hold on. Octopi tequila. Well, whatever. But it's good. Abolamano soup. Copper pizza. And they got wine too. I'm telling you, come on down to Papa Cristo's. You can't even pronounce the food. It's so goddamn good. Show them what you're working with, Papa. Show them how you do it.
Hey, Papa. Hey, where are you? Papa Cristo, are you here? Papa Cristo, are you here?
Come on down to Papa Cristo's, 2771 West Boulevard, Pico. Or you can call right now and get it delivered. Papa Cristo's. Ooh, make you want to do the dance.
Whenever it's Release the Dogs. Reminds me of that Boy Sets Fire song.
Oh, yeah. I wish there was Mountain Dew for dogs.
There's
I
wine
guess it's
for
just
cats.
Mountain Dew, but...
There has to be, yeah.
Wait, what?
There's wine for cats, so they should make Mountain Dew for dogs.
Of course there
I
is.
had no idea that was a thing.
True crime podcasters got to have wine for their cats, too.
Duh. I don't know if it's actually called this, but I'm pretty sure it's called Prosecco.
We deserve everything we're getting right now.
I quit. Yeah. I'm done with the podcast. I'm going to sleep.
This is episode 94 of I Hope You Suffer. I hate everything.
Good.
I'm Kit.
Yes.
Yeah. This is, we are, I don't know, fuck everything. I Hope You Suffer, but why? We are talking about 2001's Bones, a movie we have definitely all seen before.
Nathan out there spreading misinformation. It's a fair assumption. I haven't seen most of the movies we talk about, but this came out, I think we said 2001, and during this time, I had like obsessed with going to the movie theater, so we saw like any dumb, not that this movie is dumb, but any dumbass movie that came out in that time. So like Hostel, Freddy vs. Jason, Dracula 2000, Cabin Fever, like that kind of stuff.
Two of those are very
only
good.
Listed good movies.
Wolf Creek, Signs. I did like Signs. The Village. So a lot of these I have actually seen.
Did you go see the Omen remake?
No.
I went and saw that in a theater.
Same.
It was a terrible mistake.
You know what? I don't think I've seen any Omen except for like the very original. And I'm just like not really a fan of like demon children kind of like Antichrist stuff. So
Omen 2, I think, is pretty good. I don't remember what the other ones are like.
Probably
3 had
bad.
Sam Neill, so
I know.
Oh.
I feel like I've seen the rest of them like once, and that's it. So I don't remember.
I saw whatever that like spoof one they did that had Adam Scott in it. I saw that one. It's pretty funny. I love him.
I know.
Except he's like hosting this like dumbass show now that's called
Don't.
don't. Yeah, and I'm like,
Hey, he's getting his paycheck. Fuck it.
he deserves it. Get it.
Have you guys seen that Ja Rule commercial for the Greek place that's going around?
I
No.
have not.
Oh my god, you gotta look it up when we're done or now. I don't even care. It's fucking perfect. So there's a show airing on NBC right now that like I only am aware of because Kevin Smith is on it. Where it's like, I think they're doing kind of quarantine things where they're all making like a short movie at home. And then they're airing on like whatever the show is, and people are voting and all that shit. And it's just like whoever gets the most votes, it's like a bunch of money going to their charity of choice. But this commercial started going around of Ja Rule doing this fucking insane commercial for like some mom and pop Greek restaurant that I guess he's like part of the show, and that's what it's for, but it's for like a real Greek restaurant. So he just like two birds with one stone. He just made this insane commercial for like this Greek restaurant he likes. It's fucking amazing.
I'm watching it right now.
It's so good.
Right now, he's like looking at his phone, trying to pronounce Greek foods.
Oh,
I love him.
he's like,
I
it's
love it.
good because you can't pronounce it.
Right. I love it.
I might just fucking put it at the beginning of this episode.
I think you have to.
Maybe the next Fire Fest will be sponsored by the Greek place. They'll just have Greek food in the little tents.
Pretty sure Firefest is happening at that fucking Static X festival thing I sent you guys. Herd Immunity Fest in fucking Wisconsin or some shit.
God damn it.
Oh, new metal.
My favorite.
I would say never change, but it'd be really cool if it did change.
It kind of did.
Be
It
a
just
lot
became
cooler if you did.
just became hardcore bands. Fuck it. What are we doing? Bones. That's right.
The TV show Bones.
Yes.
Season 5.
Talking about Emily Deschanel.
Season 5. Wait, really?
What?
Is she?
Emily Deschanel? Yeah, she's the lead actress in Bones.
Yeah, she's Bones.
She's Well, no. Oh, I knew what she looked like, but I didn't know she's. I assume Zoe Deschanel's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I knew that. Wow. Okay. All right.
I think I watched
see
like
you.
all of Bones except for one season, so
Well, and like, I just never. Wow. I always thought that she looked kind of familiar, but like sometimes, a lot of actors and actresses just have like same face and they're not actually like related. So I just didn't really. And I've never seen Bones, so I don't. The
it's
show.
pretty good. It's not bad. I mean, I haven't watched it in like a decade or whatever, but
Isn't Angel in it?
yeah.
Wow.
There was one episode they did that was about like dog fighting that was actually like really fucking good, and like I don't know, it's good. Watch Bones. Watch Bones the show and the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Back to back.
All right.
Yes.
Fine.
I'm pretty sure the movie is a prequel, so
Yeah, I think lines up. Checks out.
the big Pam Grier fucking guest spot on the TV show.
Yeah, I love her. I don't even know what her name was in the movie. I just kept writing Pam Grier.
Pearl.
Oh, okay. So Pam Grier.
Yeah. Alright, so this movie was directed by Ernest Dickerson.
Our new fave.
He's been my fave. I fucking love Ernest Dickerson. Written by Adam Simon and Tim Metcalf. Starring the OG D-O-double-G Snoop Dogg as Jimmy Bones. Pam Grier
I
as
assume
Pearl.
he is back to Snoop Dogg, right?
I think he is on his Twitter.
Like,
at
I know-
least.
Okay.
He's
all
not
right.
Snoop Lion anymore.
All right. I'm here for any animal he wants to be, honestly. Do you, man?
He's pretty good. I highly suggest anybody that has not seen him look up his interviews with Nardwar, the human serviette, because they are insane. All right. So, Katie, this was your first time watching this, right?
Totally.
So, I mean,
I don't think like I said, I definitely saw this in the theater, but I think that I've only seen it like once since then, and it was a very long time ago. So I was glad we were watching it, obviously, because like I said, I had been meaning to rewatch it, and I think for me it really held up. Um, and it was like weird because a lot of these movies that I've only seen like once or twice, like whenever they came out, I don't remember anything from it, but there was like a fair part of this movie that I remembered. So, obviously.
Yeah, the plot's not like super detailed. Like it's pretty simple plot. But it's also got like some pretty like striking visuals to it, especially towards like the end. Yeah, I know Kit and I said like this is a movie we both watch at least numerous times a year. And I think like probably pretty early on we were talking about doing this movie, and it just for whatever reason kept getting pushed back because we're like, oh, you know what'll be good? Island Claws.
Yeah, something not watchable.
So yeah, this movie rules. Highly recommend people watching it because I feel like this came out like during that period where like horror wasn't putting out stuff that people took seriously, so it kind of just fell to the wayside. And then it's like Snoop Dogg being the main star. I feel like it felt like gimmicky, I guess, when it came out.
Yeah,
and so
I could definitely
like,
see that.
It's really fucking good because like I don't think I watched it when it first came out. I think it was once it kind of like came to like home video. I rented it. Yeah, it's real good.
This might be sort of like a weird thing to say about this kind of movie, but obviously I was like a freshman in high school when this came out, and so I watched it because like I said, we went to go see a bunch of horror movies, and that's like why I went to watch it. 100%, none of the like social commentary or like any of the stuff that was going on in it, like I probably didn't know any of it, but I really appreciated watching it as an adult because like there is a lot of like social issues in it that I think it's like in between, okay, like yeah, this guy comes back from the dead like he's a ghost or whatever, but there's like all of this other stuff in it that I think for the time, like I don't think was being done, if that makes sense. So I appreciated it a lot more where, I could actually like digest what was happening to the characters, and it wasn't just like, let's watch Snoop Dogg kill a bunch of guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, in reality, like, this is a almost hour 40-minute movie, and, like, really none of that stuff even happens until, like, the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I feel like this came out at a point where, like, obviously there's probably other examples that, like, I'll think of when we get done recording, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that was coming out that was very kind of, like, black centric and like social commentary wise was a lot of maybe like Spike Lee stuff. Like I'm sure there was more, but like that's just the first thing that comes to mind. And this kind of reminds me of like if Spike Lee was trying to make like a modern blaxploitation movie.
Right.
Like because it's got like there's definitely that feel to it with all of the flashback stuff. And then, obviously, I have it like Pam Grier in it. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
All right. There wasn't like any good trivia or anything about this movie. So, Katie, take it away because I don't have any notes because I had to watch this while I was calling off work. Watch this at like 3 a.m. laying in bed.
So basically the movie starts, we get a shot of what I call the Bones house. So, most of this movie kind of centers around this like huge, like brick house that at this point is like just a standalone house and it's like abandoned. You see that there's this guy being chased and he's like running with his groceries, assumingly he's being chased by a dog. And, he's got this crazy security door that I need at my house. That he gets into his apartment and basically he looks out the window and we see the black dog, who I know he does bad things, but I love him.
He's fine. He did good things.
Yeah.
Eat people's fine.
So
Cool.
so the the dog, he's just like a black dog, kind of like quintessential bad omen sort of thing. But he's got like glowing red eyes, which are cool, and he's just like looking at the guy, and the guy is like shooting him out the window, but the dog's like, meh, whatever, I don't care. And then these two white dudes pull up, and they're there to buy drugs, and basically the two guys that are meeting to like buy the drugs off of are basically like, oh, we don't trust you. You need to go find the drugs. And so they like leave their car there, which I guess, I don't know, the drugs are hidden in a brick of the house, I think.
Yeah, it's a very weird system
over
they
there.
have going on.
Yeah. Well, and so essentially they like lure the guys over to this house, and then when they go to steal the car, the alarm goes off and the dudes are like, "Oh, my car, bro." And I don't know what that accent was. But
That was just
they
general white
basically-
man accent.
it was like kind of like a southern white, yeah. So they run to the front of the house, and the guys are stealing their car, but the cops are coming, so they go inside the creepy house to hide, which, I guess. So we get this, like, this cop goes in after them, and basically the other cop who becomes a main character is basically just like, you don't need to go in there, like, nothing's in there. And then he says something like, the fucking donut shop's closing or something. And I was like, you would. But then you get this kind of like flashback of the cop. So this movie like alternates between now, whatever time now is, and like the 80s essentially.
Yeah, it's 1979.
1979,
And then, like,
yeah.
present day, so 2001.
Right. And the cop has a flash of like, it's just him shooting and like a lady screaming. And you're like, oh man, of course this guy killed somebody, because
He's a cop.
Yeah, so they basically leave. The white guys are just like looking around, and the house is like super decrepit at this point because it's been abandoned since then. And then the dog attacks one of them, and they're like, "Oh man!" But then the dog like runs away and turns into a rat, which is like pretty cool. And you're like, "Whoa!" I gotta say that like the powers that like the ghosts have in this movie are like really cool. And then
I think too, like, the CGI is definitely, pretty dated because it was like 2001, but I don't feel like any of it necessarily looks bad either.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's
I think
nothing
it held up
egregious.
pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a few times where I was like, but mostly I think and even like the practical stuff that they do that we'll get to, I think is really cool. So then you see like the very first, you see a scary shadow stretching up the wall, and like obviously it's Snoop. And they're like, oh my god, and then they try and leave. And so they run out of the house. Essentially, they make it out of the house, and they're like laughing because they're like, haha, that was scary. And then the old man who, was being chased in the beginning is like, hey, you guys got to get away, get out of there. And then they're just like, haha. But one of them gets grabbed and pulled inside, and like chunks of him get sprayed all over the other guy. And then he, gets pulled in also, and he like scratches his nails on the porch, which is really gross.
Least favorite thing in horror movies.
This movie had a lot of stuff that I was like, what? So that was one of them. So then we get like, kind of like this scene is the opening credits of the movie, where it looks like old video footage from 1979. We see Snoop Dogg. He's in his dope car in his pinstripe suit. He's switchblading. He's like going through the town giving people money, I think, or maybe they're giving him money, I'm not sure. And then he gets to the house, and then towards the end of the video it turns sort of like sinister-ish, and there's like people doing drugs, and like the music's all creepy or whatever. So now we're to present day, and a van pulls up, and we have our like main group of people, who are Patrick and Bill, who are brothers, and then their sister Tia.
I don't think they're brothers because only one of them calls that guy dad. I think it's like a brother sister and then just friends.
And then Bill like lives at their house though, so that's weird. Who knows? And then Maurice. So it's like these four people pull up, and you find out that Patrick, who I would say is like the main character of the four people, you find out that he's bought Bones' house to try and turn it into a club so that Maurice and Bill the Resurrection Brothers or something can like play at the club.
What do you guys think
Great
of
plan.
Number one, every fucking movie for some reason at this time, everybody was throwing like a rave.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Why
fucking,
not?
like House of the Dead's all about a rave. This about a rave. I feel like
Freddy vs. Jason had a rave.
yes, I feel like there's probably a Hellraiser movie with a rave in it.
The
The
video
Limp
game
Bizkit
one.
one?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the design of Jimmy Bones' house?
Sick.
I like it.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I like that it looks like a skull, but not totally.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely see it, but it doesn't. You can definitely see this just like a house too.
Well, and I think like another thing, this movie really reminds me of like one of my favorite other movies from around this time is House on Haunted Hill. And I've like talked about that before and about the movie The Haunting, which is like all an iteration of like the same thing or whatever. But that movie and these two do like a really, really good job of making the house feel like a character. And like it's not just like, oh, it's these group of people and they're at a random whatever. You know what I mean? It's like literally the set makes the whole movie, like it makes the movie feel complete, if that makes sense.
House on Haunting Hill featuring friend of the pod Chris Kattan.
You know it. So yeah, so they're at the house, but the house, like I said, the house is like decrepit at this point. And basically, oh yeah, he's like, yeah, this is gonna be the coolest thing ever. We're gonna open. I really feel like they probably couldn't have a club like in a neighborhood with like noise restrictions and whatever.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
Other than like the dude across the street, it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of residential stuff right next to it. So
Yeah.
also,
So
they
they
do a pretty fucking good job of cleaning this place up in like 2 days.
In like a couple days, yeah, for real. So they go. So basically, they're like, let's go inside and like check it out. First of all, the door swings open by itself, and Patrick is just like, ooh, and I was like, oh my god, for real. And they walk in, and one of them is like looking at the porch and sees the scratch marks from the day before, or whatever, the night before. And then Tia steps on I underlined it, human jawbone with human teeth in it, and is like, please tell me that's a dog. And one of the guys is like, no, that's a cat. And I was like, okay, regardless,
Big cat.
doesn't matter. There's a jawbone in your place that you just bought. And the guy's like, whatever, I got a good deal. And I'm like, yeah, because there's a fucking human jawbone in your living room, in your like
Hey.
foyer.
I'll take it.
You know how cats are notorious for having flat teeth.
And yeah, and like huge human sized faces. Oh. Okay, so I was just thinking of what we do in the shadows.
Oh. Crossover.
Yeah. That would have been so funny if he was just like there and he was like, get out of my house. Anyway. So basically like they figure out that this used to be Jimmy, quote unquote, Jimmy Bones, who was Snoop Dogg's house. And Maurice is like trying to remember the song, and Patrick is like sort of remembering that he knows the song and like
Sing it.
remembers. I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Nathan can just put it in here.
This is the story of Jimmy Bones. I don't remember the rest, but I got that part.
I remember
And
something that's like
was turned upside down.
heart of stone or heart of black is something that rhymes with bones.
Yeah.
We got
step
it.
on
We're
a
pretty
girl,
much there.
break your
Yeah.
mother's back. Right. So then for some reason Bill's like, oh yeah, we should make this a Jimmy Bones themed club, and I was like, bad idea. Bad idea. But the other thing is like, okay, so they had this song and he was like really prevalent in their community, but there's not really like they like it's like vague. They're talking about there's some kind of like story about him, but they don't really say what it is. So like I don't really know. I don't know what the point of this is. But so Patrick says he's gonna go turn on the heat, and you get a lot of shots of like shadow things happening behind them. So you see like a big shadow hand, one of them does, and is like, ooh. And then we get Bones vision, which I know you guys love. So anytime there's bone vision, I just wrote Bones vision, which is basically just like red blurriness of like his spirit floating around, I guess. So Tia, they all split up, and Tia is just like by herself, casually just like has a hamburger in her hand, and she opens a door and finds the dog from the beginning, and the dog is like scary, and Snoop Dogg is ghost shadowing like up behind her, but then it just disappears, and the dog's just like, "Hey, give me that hamburger," and eats the hamburger, and she's like, "All right." Then also at the same time, I don't know, there's some kind of green glowing situation in the basement.
Also, this house is constantly just like dripping blood.
Yeah, that's
Normal.
the one thing I will say. I did not really like the blood in this
I was
movie.
gonna
I mean,
ask. I kind of love it because it just looks terrible most of the time.
it's like literally paint. Like
It's like super thick. Like I don't know if it was a choice or like an accident that it looked like that, but I also kind of love it.
That's why I got such a good deal. The blood looks terrible.
Like
that's right.
it reminds me of like the blood in like Dawn of the Dead, but that was
Right.
also a movie made in like the 70s.
Yeah, good point. I don't know. I guess maybe that's why I didn't like it, because I couldn't tell. I don't know.
Like when he like later when he's like stabbing the pool table and it's bleeding.
Yeah.
It looks so
Yeah.
bad, but I love it.
I mean, I you know, blood looked different back in the day, so
Yeah.
it's fine. Patrick basically like gives them all this like pep talk about how this is gonna be the coolest club ever, and basically, you know, is his whole situation is that he's really trying to like make something of himself, and so he's like trying to bring his friends with him, and they're all like, yeah, cool. And so Tia comes downstairs and she's just like, I found a dog, let's call him Bones, and they're all just like, all right. Okay. So they leave, and then the old man from the beginning is like yelling at them, and Pam Grier shows up and is basically just like, they're both just like yelling at these kids, telling them that they need to kill the dog, and they're like, LOL.
Who
And
is that guy with the gun somebody from the 70s? I can't remember.
yeah,
Is it
Yeah,
like
he
his
is.
old bodyguard?
yeah.
Okay, like for some reason every time I watch it, I never like put it together, and I was watching it this time and I was like, wait, who's this guy supposed to be?
I didn't you know what though? I didn't put that together until the end, because I feel like so him and the cop, you get flashbacks of them being in the 70s and them now, and so they put makeup on them obviously to make them look older, but like it did something weird to their faces where like I couldn't really like recognize them.
The,
But-
the officer especially, like,
with his
in-
thinner makeup on.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh my
he might as
God.
well have been from Thinner.
every
Um,
time it popped up, I was like, that dude's head looks fake, and I don't like it.
His whole ass head. So
It's like the Charles
Yeah.
Dutton head I shut you guys from surviving.
essentially, yeah. Then basically Patrick sort of like talks to Pam Grier, Pearl and her daughter Cynthia about like how he's opening a nightclub there, and he used to be from there or whatever, and they're like, I don't know. So then there's like a scene in the car where Maurice is talking about how KFC is run by the KKK or something, and I just wrote KFC is run by KKK, and then we get introduced to Eddie Mack, who I guess is like the drug lord of the town now, and so like the two guys from the beginning that stole the car from the white guys, they're basically like, hey, we stole this car. And the only thing I wrote from this like situation is that Eddie Mack is basically just like, well, he's important obviously, but he's just like, what did I say? No psycho shit. And the only person that can do psycho shit is me. And I was like, I love that. So basically, everybody is back at Patrick's house, and Tia feeds the dog a whole bowl of raw meat, which like your dog doesn't need to eat like 20 pounds of meat.
Did we say about how Pearl like warns them not to feed the dog?
No.
Which is also weird because like it makes you, at the beginning it makes you think that she knows what's going on, but then like the rest of the movie she doesn't seem to. It's very weird.
It is weird because I didn't write that part down because I didn't think it was important until later, and then I was like, oh. But yeah, he's
like a gremlin. Don't feed it or get it wet.
Yeah. And oh yeah, so then their parents come home and their parents are like, no, dog. And I don't know what triggers this, but for some reason their dad has a memory of trying to basically like have a business deal with Bones, and Bones is like, I don't think so.
Hot take, then the dad sucks.
100%. 100%.
Correct. Good take.
And then you basically, okay, so the cop that did the murders is named Lupovich. I said murders because you know he killed more than one person. You just basically get like the idea that he's like a dirty cop, and he is bringing, I guess essentially he's like bringing drugs in to like distribute in the community to keep everyone hooked on drugs, and so Eddie Mack can like get money, and so Eddie Mack is paying Lupovich money for bringing him drugs.
Goddamn Loopy Lou.
For real though. So oh yeah, this is where I wrote dad is trash, because basically you find out that like he grew up in this kind of like the area where the Bones house was, that is now just very dangerous and not kept up at all. And he is mad about like the two white guys that got killed in the beginning. He basically blames them and says like, oh well, you should, like, basically saying that they were in a situation that they shouldn't have been in, and so it's their fault that they died. And you find out that the dad is like pretty classist. Like, he made it out, and now he lives in like the nicest part of town with the biggest house, and he wears sweater vests and like all this stuff, and he like really looks down on anyone who is like in a worse off situation. And basically that is why Patrick is like trying to start this whole venture. He's like a bootstraps kind of guy.
The worst.
And yeah, very bad.
Bootstraps.
Exactly. Patrick, right, so there's like a back and forth about it, and Patrick is just basically says like, well, we should be going back to the old neighborhood, and like helping these people, and the dad is basically just like, no. So then Loopy Lou shows up at the door, and is basically just like, what the fuck's going on? Somebody bought the Bones house, and like, you weren't supposed to let somebody buy it. And the dad's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And basically Lupovich threatens him and is like something like 4 people can keep a secret better if 3 people are dead, or something like that. So you're like, oh shit, what happened there?
He also is the worst because he just immediately starts like saying gross shit about like the 15-year-old daughter, fucking however old she's supposed to be.
God.
It's like,
yeah,
nice rack, and he's like, that's my daughter, and he's like, oh yeah. Hate him.
Oh, so gross. Ugh. And then I did like the dad was just like, get out of here, you fat bastard.
His death was not as good as it should have been.
No, it was not satisfying.
Yeah, I agree. Should
have been skinned alive and thrown into a salt pit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then thrown into a blender.
And then a needle pit.
Yeah. After the blender.
Yeah.
So back at the Bones house, Cynthia shows up and just says some stuff about how the house is bad, and she talks about basically the thin veil between this world and ghosts or some shit. And this is the first time that something like sort of crazy happens, and I think this scene is super cool. So Bill is like he's like laying on an air mattress because they decided that they're all gonna like sleep here until the place is fixed up. Listening to music, rocking out, he's got his eyes closed, and we see like there's what I was calling a people wall. So it's basically just like, imagine a cave, but instead of rock, it's a bunch of people.
It's the city of the dead.
Right. But it's like really cool because at this point, sometimes it's just faces and sometimes it's arms, but the people start like coming off the wall and like coming towards him, and I thought it looked super cool. Because they're all in like this like gray and black paint or whatever.
Yeah,
pretty
all of the City of the Dead stuff looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then so they go to grab him, and he wakes up and he's like, oh, that was weird. But then Snoop's face shows up in the sex mirror on the ceiling and tells him to get out, and he's like, holy crap. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, not a fan.
No. And then we get this like kind of short scene of Pam Grier. You find out that she's like a medium now. She has a picture of her and Snoop like from the 80s, and she has a flashback.
Snoop died in 79, so it was from the 70s.
70s, might be. It was close enough. And yeah, so she has a flashback, so like obviously you can tell that they were like together or whatever. And his image in the picture moves and she gets scared, which, you know, that's pretty scary. So Cynthia shows back up at the Bones house again, and this is where we first see the red stuff oozing out from the floor, and like one of them literally says it's blood, otherwise like I just thought it was like paint or something. And so they go downstairs, and there's just like this stuff leaking all over the pipes and stuff, and I think one of them is just like, oh, it's rust. I was like, what?
Yeah, they're pretty just like nonplussed about the whole thing. They're just like, oh, this is gross, but whatever.
Yeah,
that's what happens with these older houses.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you know. And so the dog is there, and the dog is like scratching at this door, and like you keep getting these flashes of like different parts of something, I guess, that you think is like whooshing through the house, for lack of a better term, and they keep focusing on this like door that has a padlock on it. And so this is the door at this point, and they break the lock and go down there, of course, which is, I just don't know why. But they go down, and first of all, it's like a quarter into the ground. It's like subterranean, and there's like flies everywhere, which like, first of all, I would have been like, see ya. Not doing that.
I find it hard to believe that in 32 years or whatever it would have been, no one has come to look at this place to buy or whatever, and has like looked at the basement to find this very noticeable, like, because like he's barely buried.
He's not really. Well, the thing that's weird to me is that like, okay, so they first of all didn't try very hard. They just like, you know, yeah, there's a padlock on it, but you find out that like the company that the dad built owns the building, and I guess just refused to sell it. So that would be a point towards like no one bought it. But then his son bought it by going through a broker, and so that's why it's confusing. Like, why couldn't anybody have done that?
Yeah,
if they wanted to buy it.
Very weird.
But I guess they do try and make a point of saying that like the neighborhood isn't the best, and so like maybe just nobody was interested in it. I don't know. So yeah, okay, so they go down into a cellar, and there's like literally just like a mound of dirt, and the dog like digs up a skeleton, and it's literally just like sitting on the floor. Like, it's not even, it's like they laid him on the floor and then just put dirt over him.
Yeah, basically.
It's like not even a hole.
Dig is a strong word.
No, I didn't say dig. I said they just like put him on the ground and then put dirt over him.
Oh,
so
you said the dog digs up. Like,
oh yeah, no. The dog just sort of like paws at some sand.
The dog-
basically. It was like a sand castle.
It basically
that they knocked
just
over,
like
and there's-
sneezes and some dirt moves and
Yeah. And they immediately know that it's Jimmy Bones. And Maurice like remembers the song and he sings it. And Tia wants to call the police. Like obviously there's a skeleton, but they're basically just like, no, like if we call the police, then like we can't open our nightclub. So let's just wait. Which
Makes
is
sense.
yeah, good plan.
Meanwhile, Cynthia sees basically sees Snoop's ghost just like chilling in the corner. And when they all decide to leave, Maurice steals Bones's diamond ring or whatever, which is bad. And I think this is when you get a little bit of Bones's body kind of like resurrecting. And it's
Yeah, I think the dog like
It's
eats
like-
something, and that's because it's any time after the skeleton is. Well, I can't remember. I think it's like because somebody takes a switchblade and somebody takes the ring.
yeah.
Or maybe they just take this switchblade out and drop it or whatever. But the one dude like takes the ring, and then after that, every time the dog eats something, like it has the fucking Hellraiser effect where the bodies coming back together.
Yeah, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's
But at
pretty
this
good.
point, it's just kind of like some tendrils or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like some little lacy work, you know. So this scene is like kind of weird because basically like Pam or Pearl is doing like a seance for some people, but she's kind of like having a prophecy where and at the same time her daughter Cynthia is sleeping in a bed and is getting groped by a ghost, which is pretty gross. And Pam or Pearl is like getting flashes of like Bones being alive again, and then there's like images of Cynthia sinking into a bed of blood, which was pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
And then Pearl finally realizes that Cynthia's like at the Bones house, and she's like, oh hell no, and she goes and gets her. And then that's it. Like that's it. They're just like, oh. So the next day, Patrick brings his dad to the club, and his dad is like really pissed. He's like belligerent pissed about it, and yells at him about having bought the house, and is like, you need to return it, whatever. We get another flashback of Bones and Eddie Mack, Patrick's dad, who Jaybird is what they were calling him. Is like the only thing I remember. And they're meeting, and the cop is there, and essentially this is like the very, very beginning, right? Because this is where Eddie Mack and Jaybird, who is Patrick's dad, decide that they're going to try and pitch to Bones that they're going to introduce drugs to the neighborhood so that they can make money, basically. And Bones is like hell no, I don't want you guys to bring drugs here. Like, we've got a good thing going on, and that's bad. And then he's basically like, you guys need to leave. Like, we're not doing this. And then they all decide that they're just going to like hold him at gunpoint until he tries the drugs, which I'm not really sure why trying the drugs would like change his mind about whether he wants drugs in his neighborhood, but essentially that's what happens. And he tries the drugs and gets all messed up and pulls out his switchblade, I assume by reflex, right? Because he's like doing switchblade tricks the whole movie, which is cool. And then they just murder him. They just like shoot him a bunch. And then this part makes no sense to me. The cop is basically takes a switchblade and is like, makes everybody stab him with the knife so that if anybody ever finds the knife, all of their fingerprints on are going to be on it, and everyone's going to be like held accountable. But like, he was already shot a bunch of times. Like, don't really understand like the knife part. But basically, yeah.
I mean,
that's
it
what happens.
was just a reason to have their DNA in a blackmail, basically.
Which, like, he's, I guess they probably don't know much about. Anyways. So then, we get Bones' vision again of him leaving his body. And then immediately we cut to the club is now open. And Cynthia shows up to it even though she was just groped by a ghost the night before, but that's fine, I guess. And so basically you just get a lot of like the club. There's like somebody with a chainsaw or something for some reason, and there's like it's like a rave, right? Maurice is DJing, and
this party seems pretty terrible.
yeah.
Also, all of the like dot lights drive me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were like giving them props for cleaning up the house, but it still kind of looks like a trash. But and so Maurice like is DJing, and he sees this girl who is just like having a come hither look or whatever. So he like follows her off into like a part of the house where nobody is, into like a room, but then she turns into the dog and attacks him. So this is like our second like dog lady.
It's got
Pet Cemetery too.
Very strong phantasm vibes.
Yeah. So basically like this is where we really get like the dog is eating Maurice, and Bones' body is like reforming, like pretty, he gets all of his muscles and his skin and all that stuff. So he's like, really only took like one guy. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta figure it's about, a person's weight to a person's like reforming or whatever is gonna be pretty equal.
Yeah. And he already
Makes
had
sense.
that burger to start, so like
Yeah.
The whole burger head and a plate or a whole fucking bowl of raw meat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
That's what did
right.
it. It was the
That's-
whole
that's-
bowl of meat.
That's right. His appetizer of 20 pounds of raw steak.
Human meat.
So then Patrick, they realize that Maurice is gone, and Patrick, he's like dancing with Cynthia or whatever, and Patrick goes to like find Maurice, and this part is kind of where the CG did not work for me, but basically he like opens the door and sees the dog is eating Maurice, and then the dog's face is like the shape of a dog face, but it's Maurice's face or something.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And then I don't really want to talk about this next part.
Maggot attack.
Yeah, people with maggots in their mouth.
I forgot about this scene, obviously, and I've said many times I hate maggots. I fucking hate maggots so much, and there are so many maggots in this scene. So
We stand vomiting maggots and
No.
also eating them.
no. So like essentially the dog just like vomits, like projectile vomits maggots onto him for a
So
very
many.
long time.
It's awesome.
A very long time. And so Bones is like fully formed at this point, and then there's just like literally maggots everywhere. They're like raining from the ceiling. They're like dropping on people's selves and like their
Lunchables.
drinks, and like, did you say Lunchables?
Yeah. And maggots are dropping on people's
Yeah,
Lunchables
what
in
else?
the club.
What else
Yeah.
do you eat at raves?
On
They're good for the go.
on their pacifiers and like on their boom boxes and whatnot, on the scratch, like they're just literally everywhere. It's like literally raining maggots, and everyone's like, ooh, gross. Gross. So Snoop does something in the basement that basically makes it explode, and so everyone's like, oh my god, not only are there maggots, the basement exploded. So everyone's like screaming and like running out of the house, and I think it's just Patrick and Cynthia are still in the room, and Bones like comes up the door frame, and they're like, what? And he like throws his switchblade at them, but they escape, and the house burns down. I didn't. All I wrote. Okay. It's because so basically the house is burning down, and I think Cynthia and Pearl like live across the street, or like that's where her mom's shop is or something, because Pearl's just like there, and they see Bones in like the doorway, and he disappears or whatever, and you get this whole like thing where basically Pearl tells Cynthia that Bones is her father. I definitely forgot about that plot twist, and I was
Gas.
like, holy
Yeah.
shit. Which makes sense. So then so basically Bones is alive now. He's got his switchblade. He gets his ring back from Maurice, and he is gonna start the revenge. So first he goes to the old guy from the beginning who this is when I was like, oh, that was his bodyguard. Because he's essentially just like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like I felt guilty this whole time, and you know that I love you essentially. And he's basically just like, no, like you could have done something. You suck.
He
And
basically like tells them like shit, like you could have died with me.
yeah, or tried. You could
Yeah.
have done. He literally, I think he says like you could have done anything. And just like I think he just stabs him in the throat. And he's got the blood in this scene looks very strange because it's not like the normal blood. It's like it's like orange or something. It's really weird. So he's dead. And then Patrick, I guess Patrick, I kind of like wasn't paying attention at this point, but I guess Patrick thinks that his dad like rigged the house to explode or something. He like confronts his dad about like the building and why he didn't want Patrick to be in the neighborhood or whatever. And so then this is this part was really weird too. Bones basically like encounters the two drug dealers from the beginning, and they basically are like, you can't be psycho around here or whatever. And he kills them, but I can't really like, I don't know what happened. It was just like their blood splatters.
It rules because their blood splatters into the shape of themselves, like on the wall.
Right.
It's
Like,
awesome.
like as if he was like, they were like running out the wall in like a cartoon, and it's like the shape of them. I was just like, I don't know what this was supposed to be, but they're dead anyways.
Extremely Looney Tunes,
Yes.
and it kicks ass.
Yeah. So then he like comes to try and like talk to Pearl, but Cynthia kind of like walks in and interrupts them. And Pearl is basically just like, hey, he's gonna kill everybody. I mean, whatever. And Cynthia's like, Mom, that's not cool. Like, I don't deserve to die. Patrick and his siblings or whoever don't deserve to die. Like, we have to do something. And so Bones shows up at Eddie Mac's. Oh, okay. So basically, Eddie and like his girlfriend, who he calls Snowflake, were like messing around, and she goes to the bathroom, and he immediately is like, "Where are you?" and like calls her a bitch and stuff. And I was like, "Calm down. What if she had to drop a number two? Like, just give her some privacy, you know?" So he goes like looking for her and like slips in her blood, and she's just like in a trash can, and he's just like, "Oh man." And this is the scene where he turns around. Bones is like dragging his switchblade through the pool table, and there's just like paint bubbling up, which if the blood looked better I think would be a cool effect.
I like it regardless.
But then like Eddie, like, oh, Snoop like holds up a mirror or something, and Eddie shoots at it. And then, like, the mirror, like, obviously, Snoop is fine. He cannot be killed. But then the mirror shards, like, fly up in the air and, like, stab him into the wall, which I was like, all right, I guess. And then Snoop, like, cuts his head off and just walks around with it.
It's awesome.
I definitely forgot about that part, too. I was just like, wow, this just keeps getting more and more wild. So now he's, like, carrying around Eddie's head. And he confronts the cop who I guess thinks he's doing some kind of drug pickup. And so Bones is just there. And then he's like makes the cop like smoke some drugs, but then like covers his mouth, and now his mouth is gone. And hangs him on a hook. And I was like, wow, this is all right. So, Pearl and Cynthia are now at Patrick's house and to warn his dad, but Bones is already there with, Eddie Mac and the cop's head, just like chilling. And so by the time that they all get inside, the dad is gone. Somehow Bones has like melted the window to make them like get out,
It's
I guess.
very strange. I just, like every time I rewatch this, I just have no idea how he got out of this window.
I don't, and it's like not even a big enough hole to have like pulled a grown man through. So I don't know. I don't know. It like they don't really ever tell it. Like, he just basically is like an all-powerful entity. Like he has powers to do anything, I guess. Um. So then they all are like, okay, we have to go save Dad, and so I think it's just Bill, Patrick, Pearl, and Cynthia. They don't let Tia come, which ends up being good. She stays with her mom, and I wrote they're in a face cave. So Bones has Patrick's dad and the cop head and Eddie's head like down. It's like legit. It's like the city of the dead, like you said, but it's like a cave made of like people's faces, and then they all get to the house, and I guess this is when Pearl realizes that like the only reason that Snoop can come back is because his blood is on her dress that they buried him with, and that's like what's keeping him alive. So they have to find it and burn it. Meanwhile, you get like these scenes of Bones, kind of like I know I keep saying Bones and Snoop because I don't know why they're the same person,
Bones.
obviously.
Snoop
Bones.
Bones.
Oh, I like it. He's like dunking the dad like into the wall and like pulling him out and into the wall and pulling him out, and he's all like mucusy as you do.
Seems
if
pretty
you're...
gooey in there.
Yeah, you know.
I also
So-
still don't understand what's happening in there. Like,
I don't either, because it's just like I guess it's just like trapped souls or something, and they're like trying to. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. That he's totally fine, except that he's goopy. Pearl gets like caught in the elevator, and when she gets up there, she emerges into a room that's just like full of candles. Snoop is up there and does some kind of like ghost magic to make her think that she's like young and it's 79 again. She's wearing the dress and it's like normal, and the kids are like climbing up the mine shaft, I guess. And when they come up, it's like the house is now the city of the dead. So it's like crazy.
I gotta say too that like Pam Grier looks like pretty great in like both things. Like, because it's supposed to be like 30 years apart, and usually it's a obviously pretty fucking big difference in 30 years, and like they do a pretty decent job of her like looking younger with just the hair and then that outfit.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. She's just ageless. Yeah, because really all they did was the hair, and then okay, so yeah, the house is City of the Dead, and basically Cynthia's just like totally cool with it. She's like, wow, it's just the City of the Dead, it's fine, like don't worry about it. Let's just go up these stairs. Yeah, whatever. And so they also see what they think is Maurice. Obviously, Maurice is dead. And basically, I don't know, I guess Maurice like lures Bill away and Bill gets grabbed and he's dead because the wall people got him.
Hate to get got by the wall people.
You do. It seems bad. And so basically they go upstairs. It's just Patrick and Cynthia now. They go upstairs and they find Pearl and Bones, and Cynthia and Bones hug and dance, sort of. They're like slow dancing. And there's like this weird scene of like Patrick seeing his dad in the mirror, but the mirror is like the wall people, and his dad is a wall person now. And I think his dad gives him a knife. Is that where he got the knife? I just like looked up and he had a knife now.
I think so. I don't know if I ever remember how he gets the knife.
Well, because he was like, help me, son. And then like he just has a bloody knife. And I was like, okay, I assume that's what happened.
It's also like a weird Rambo knife.
Yeah, it is.
You'd think
so
you'd think it would have been like Jimmy Bones's like switchblade or something.
Well, I guess he still has that, but I mean, the dad could have grabbed it from him when he was getting dunked in the wall or whatever. It's just like a random knife. Yeah, I don't know. So, uh, so Patrick like lunges at Bones, and Bones grabs him, and there's like this really cool effect where his face like literally, it's like his face, but the top half of it looks like a skeleton, and I thought that was pretty cool.
His makeup is very ridiculous.
Yeah. But then I said, I don't know, Patrick is in a ghost tornado or something. I'm not really sure like what was happening there.
Ghost tornado.
He just, oh, I'm writing that
No,
one
there's
down.
a film.
Ghost tornado. So he's like spinning around in the air and there's like ghosts and stuff. I'm not sure what kind of was, we don't know. Yeah, he can do anything. So, Per realizes that she's wearing, like, she was kind of in a trance, I guess, and now she realizes she has the dress. So she basically tells Bones that she loves him and then sets herself on fire. And it is pretty. She's like a flaming inferno of fire. It's pretty insane.
She takes it pretty well, though.
Yeah. She's just like, see ya. She's the queen. She's just the high priestess of this movie. So, not Penny, Cynthia. I don't know. Cynthia, is basically just like, no, Mom, and she's like upset. But Patrick, is like trying to pull, like, they gotta get out because the house is now like burning down and collapsing and exploding and stuff. And there's like the scene where they have to jump down the elevator shaft, and for like a minute you think maybe Cynthia's not gonna follow him, but then she does, which is suspicious, first of all. And so there's just like this backdraft of like ghosts and debris and stuff. And then they're fine, everything's okay. In the house, anyways. So then they leave and they're like sitting outside, and Patrick is kind of like looking around like, I don't really know like what's going on. And Cynthia, Patrick finds a picture of Snoop Dogg and Pearl, and then Cynthia vomits maggots on him, and it's the end. Wow.
More maggots.
Good note to end on.
No, that had a lot. That had like, I don't even know how much. What's the measure unit for maggots?
By pound?
Gallons.
Yeah, gallon.
Is it? It had like, gross. Lots. So
Needed
that
a few
was
more dozen gallons of maggots, in my
They
opinion.
should have replaced all the blood with just maggots.
Yes. You cut the pool table open and it's just maggots pouring out.
Just bloody maggots.
I think
Maggots
that would have.
pouring down the wall.
I like legit. I don't do this very often, but I like during that maggot scene, I literally had to like look away, and I was like, ew, oh no, it's so gross. I hate it.
What if the
Especially-
dog was made out of maggots?
What if the dog was just one giant maggot?
And it vomited a bunch of dogs.
If it was that big, I am inclined to think I might think it's cute.
That's
I
weird.
just like the idea of
I
it
don't know.
vomiting a bunch of tiny dogs.
I would like that. I like it. And then the tiny dogs vomit maggots, and it's just like maggots and dogs all the way down.
Never ending cycle.
Yeah.
Ernest Dickerson, get at us if you want to do a sequel.
Yeah. So that was Bones.
Yes, this movie rules. Everybody should watch it.
That-
It's on Tubi for
Yeah.
free.
That was the story of Jimmy Bones.
Jim Bones. Do 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 do. Oh, that's Space Jam, but that's a different movie.
That's close.
Close.
All right, Zach Baggins tweet of the week.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you what he says first. Okay, so basically, he posted a picture. When you go to Twitter to like the trending and you can just see like a list of what's trending, and so he posted a picture of a word that's trending that had 80,000 tweets, and it says banana, and he said, "Shit, what did banana do?"
Jesus.
Oh man.
Weekly world news update. Flatulence saves man from kidnappers.
It happens, man.
Subheadline, thank God I had that third burrito, he explains.
Oh man. That is so good. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, just eat burritos all the time in case you get kidnapped.
I'm
Beans will
gonna.
save your life.
I think so.
Alright. You got any news, Katie? I feel like
I have a little.
there was a lot this week for some reason.
There was. There's basically, let's see here. I saw that. Let's see here. I wrote a lot of things.
Paramount.
They're
God.
They're doing a film adaptation of Clive Barker's Books of Blood as part of Huluween. So it's going to be on Hulu this fall. And it is just a movie, not a series. I know I feel like I'd seen people kind of like clamoring for a series. But it's going to be directed by, I wrote Brannon Braga, who I guess is the director of The Orville, which I have not seen that show, but I've seen really good things about it. And then executive producer Seth MacFarlane. So that'll be interesting.
Pass.
I don't know. I am really hesitant to ever like be really looking forward to something that comes out as part of like a Halloween thing, because a lot of times it's just like they know it's Halloween, so it'll get the views, you know what I mean? But I might check it out. We had previously talked about that there was going to be a sequel to Velocipaster 2, and we have a little bit more information about that now. So essentially, it's not like a continuation of Velocipaster. It's just a quote-unquote spiritual sequel that's going to be called Outback Dracula, and I'm really excited for it, actually.
Why not Outbackula?
Outbackula.
I'm assuming it's going to be like a movie that is going to be in the universe that they'll probably end up then tying together in like a sequel to that.
Probably, because Brennan did say it was going to be a trilogy, so that'll be interesting. And I'm like, if it's, I don't know, I'm down. So I don't really know. I don't think there's too many other like details out there, because this was literally announced like yesterday, I think.
All I know is on Twitter they only follow 4 accounts, and one of them is Outback Steakhouse.
I love it. That's hilarious. Yes, I'm 100% down for that.
Did you see 6 hours ago Paramount will release new David Arquette starring Scream movie from Ready or Not filmmakers in 2021?
I did see that, and I kind of was like, I don't know if we need to report on that again, because like we had already talked about it. But I guess the point is that now it's like 100% legit, and like he's reprising the same role.
Didn't he die in one of them?
I don't remember. But then they were also like Matthew Lillard and what's her name? Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Also we're like in talks to reprise, and I'm like, what? Okay, I don't know.
Does
so
Neve
it's
Campbell
like
die in it? I think she lives in all of them.
But it's like the thing that is weird to me about this is that it's like a revival of the series, and it's going to be like an independent story. So it's weird to me when they do that, and then it's like that's what they did with Jurassic Park, right? It's like the new trilogy or whatever is supposed to be just like a new story, but then they have characters that are like the same, and so like that whole thing to me just is like so strange.
Yeah, just fucking at that point just reboot it. Like, who cares?
Right, and like no one would be mad if like David Arquette was still in it playing the same character, but like like the same cast type of person, but like give him a new name or something. I don't know. So and then I also have I don't know that it's out for, I didn't see for Shudder like the list of stuff coming to Shudder for July. I couldn't find, but I do have one for Netflix.
Usually I think it's Fangoria was who put it out, but I don't think they're gonna be doing that anytime soon. But usually it's like the last day or two of the month they put it out.
Okay. Well, for what's it called? I already said. We have Unsolved Mysteries series, which I had already talked about. Paranormal Activity, which I feel like is on other stuff, so I don't really know
Yeah, I
why,
think
but
those
whatever.
tend to just seems like they just hop stuff like the Stephen King movies.
Come in and off, yeah. Yeah, fucking so stupid. That made me so mad. Because I saw that a lot of the ones we were gonna do that were gone when we did Stephen King month are now there again. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, man. They're also getting Poltergeist, Sleepy Hollow, Splice, The Witches, Winchester, something called Warrior Nun, um, Signs, and then they're also getting Ju-on Origins, which is gonna be a series. So I don't know.
Meh.
I mean, I don't care about Netflix, but for anyone that wants to,
I mean, I'll definitely
that's
end up checking out that Unsolved Mysteries whenever it drops, but
yeah, there's a trailer out now, and people seem to have responded to it positively, but I don't know.
you got anything else?
No.
Okay. I mean, I guess definitely we should probably mention too that like Ian Holm died, who played Ash the android in at least the first Alien movie. And Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, that one made me pretty bummed.
Joel Schumacher's.
And pour some milk out for Ian Holm.
Yes. He was in like a lot of shit. I don't know how much of it I remember other than obviously Alien. Trying to
is that
jam a
and
fucking
Lord
magazine.
of the Rings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
That's what I recognized him from as of late.
Highly suggest people watch some Joel Schumacher movies lately because he's got a bunch of good ones.
Yeah.
Lost Boys, obviously, Flatliners, Falling Down. Both Batman movies are legitimately good, whether people want to agree or not.
They're wrong if they disagree.
8mm
those are all
with Nick Cage. Perfect.
Well, I don't know about that one.
Oh, movie's
But
so
the rest
good.
of that is all top cinema, if you ask
Have
me.
you seen 8mm?
I think so, but I don't remember.
It's weird as fuck. It's real good. I think number 23 was actually pretty decent too.
Was that Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Okay, I did see that one.
And then Blood Creek was pretty good. With Michael Fassbender and Henry Cavill. However the fuck you pronounce his name.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He can come on and tell us himself.
Pass.
I don't care about him.
Alright. You guys got some shout outs. Kit, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was gonna do a Schumacher movie, and it's one you didn't list by
Ooh.
chance. Phone Booth kicks ass.
I don't know if that's like one of the ones I don't think I've seen.
Is that
honestly rules? It's
what's that?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell,
trapped in a
yeah.
phone booth, and what is his name from Lost Boys? Is a like Vietnam sniper, like keeping him in there, making him answer for his sins while he's trapped in there.
Good. He does need to answer for some things.
Yeah, Colin.
Cologne.
Yeah, that's what you get for being a
Cool.
terrible fucking bullseye in the Daredevil movie.
Yeah. Do let me some Kiefer Sutherland though. I think Forrest Whitaker's in that movie too.
Yep.
All right, what about you, Katie?
I'm gonna shout out Tubi. I know that we've like talked about them a lot, but I just like they have so many movies on there, and they also get a lot of movies that are not ever free on anything else. Like they have the original Scream, which I always try and like rewatch that franchise, but I don't own any of them, and they're like never free. So they have 1 and 3, which at least they have the first one. They also have Urban Legend, which is like another one of my favorite like terrible movies from that time. And we've done a lot of movies, and the best thing about it is that they're just free. Like,
Yeah, if you
it's
like
just crazy.
garbage horror movies, they are a gold mine.
Well, yeah, and they have some like actually really good ones too.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely do recommend.
I'm going to say the new clipping song, Chapter 319. It's something they released on like the last Bandcamp day, where they were donating all proceeds to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and then I think the GoFundMe for George Floyd's daughter. Like some other things, and I think they said like every day after that day, that one day, they're just donating all of the sales to the 2 tracks from the single to just like different organizations for like racial justice things. It's real good. It's on their Bandcamp, just clipping.bandcamp.com, except I think clipping with none of the vowels. It's real fucking good. Like, I love Clipping, and I think it's like the best song they've put out so far in their career.
Wow.
It's real good. At some point they
I think
talk about how voting for Donald Trump and supporting him makes you a white supremacist, so hard backed.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's going to be another revenue wave day for Bandcamp on the 3rd.
I think until something gets kind of dealt with coronavirus, I think they're doing it like the first Friday of each month. But they done one in the middle of this month for Juneteenth, and like we're donating all of their stuff to like different like black organizations and shit like that, because Bandcamp is the best. And if you like music that is, I guess some quote unquote somewhat underground, that even there's a lot of like kind of bigger artists finally starting to jump onto it too. It is a pretty amazing platform for buying music digitally. Kit and I are on there pretty fucking constantly.
Yep.
Making ourselves poor. Like at this point, like I feel like a lot of people, especially with like everything else going on in the world, are kind of like just putting shit in their wish list and buying a lot of it on the Bandcamp days. Because if you're not aware, like what they do is like once a month they waive all of their fees for artists. Like, and so like the artists during like the pandemic and shit, where none of them were able to tour and stuff like that, like are getting just their full cut from when you buy stuff on there, instead of like the 15% Bandcamp takes out, which is pretty good. A lot of bands will do like special releases each month, like the Ataris have like almost every Bandcamp day have just released like a shit ton of unreleased material. So a lot of bands do kind of like cool stuff like that, and some of the special ones, like the one they did for Juneteenth, a lot of labels and bands were just like, Bandcamp is donating their their 15% they get or whatever to these organizations. We're gonna double, or we're gonna donate everything we make. So it's like a pretty cool like community of everybody on Bandcamp that donates, and I don't know, it's just like a cool platform. Better than Spotify paying their artists like half a penny for 3,000 streams or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so next week I think we're doing Death by Temptation, which is on YouTube for free through Troma's YouTube channel, and I think a couple other people have it up too. We can talk about Samuel L. Jackson's first ever movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's like the first thing he ever acted in, if I'm correct. I know it's at least his first movie. I've seen it in a long time. But I remember liking it a lot. It's like a weird vampire movie.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I don't actually think I've seen any Troma movies.
Most of them are garbage. Toxic Avenger's good, and
I feel like, obviously I've heard of that one. I just can't remember if I've seen it or not. So I'm gonna err by no.
A lot of them,
and I've heard of Mother's Day also, but I don't think I've seen it.
I like most of the stuff Troma actually made. A lot of it doesn't necessarily hold up, like politically correctness wise.
Oh, I'm sure.
But like their most of their catalog is like stuff they like just released for other people made, and then they just like kind of released it to a bigger audience or whatever. So it's a lot of that stuff's not great, but I used to watch like anything with the Troma logo on it when I was like 19. So I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, what documentary? There was a documentary that I watched recently that had him in it.
Lloyd Kaufman's in almost any movie documentary, either about horror or like low budget movies. He always pops up.
Yeah, and he was like talking about like their process and stuff, and I thought that was like pretty cool.
He was in Cursed Films. I think the
The Exorcist one, maybe.
No, it was the fucking Twilight Zone the movie one.
Oh,
Wow.
makes sense. I blocked that out of my mind
Yeah,
because that was terrible.
he's always been really good about like, you know, keeping the people that work for him like leaving the same condition they came in or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, cause he was in that episode kind of talking about like, you know, how Troma has gone 40 something years making all these movies and like had maybe like one accident that nobody really got hurt in or whatever.
Yeah.
And how kind of like, you know, Hollywood, especially in like the 70s, just didn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff, or were just like, you know, we talked about like the Twilight Zone movie one a while back, but like how just directors got away with just being like the biggest pieces of shit in the name of art.
Yeah.
A lot of them still do, as if you follow horror stuff at all on like Twitter or anything, just think a shit ton of people being outed for being garbage bags.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
And Kit and I, coming from like the metal community, that's nothing new.
Yep. And wrestling going through it too.
Comic books and fucking everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I back it. Keep outing fucking garbage people and support people that aren't garbage as much as
For
you
sure.
can.
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
Alright. Yeah, so next week, Death by Temptation. I think we might do the movie Bugged after that, but I don't know how much Katie wants to watch a movie about bugs after Bones. So
Like, not at all.
We'll see. Or if you listen to this and you know a movie that would fit with this podcast directed by a black woman, let us know, because it seems extremely hard to find one.
Yeah.
Because it's either a very good movie or just non-existent, because Hollywood is garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we ever talked about... Did you guys watch the Candyman like teaser trailer thing they released?
Yeah, that
I forgot
animated
to
one.
watch
Oh, it's so good.
It is really good.
It doesn't
yeah.
give away anything, which is perfect, but also tells you like essentially the plot of the movie, which, you know, it's Candyman. Everybody has already probably seen the original, but like it's all done with like shadow puppets. It's pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right. We are still donating any proceeds from shirt sales to bail funds and shit. So if you want to buy a shirt, you should at storefrontier.com/IHopeYouSuffer. Leave us ratings and reviews on iTunes. It's helpful. Tell us your favorite Snoop Dogg song.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you about Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg was the shit in the 90s. And his fucking weird No Limit Records phase. Follow us on Twitter at IHopeYouSuffer and Instagram at IHopeYouSuffer Podcast. Listen to Kit's other podcast, Riff Raff, Toilet of Hell. Follow Katie on the things at Werewolf Face. Listen to my other podcast named Kate Movie Club. That's it, I guess. Watch Death by Temptation. It's free on YouTube. You have no excuse. Alright, I hope you suffer, but why?
Maggot sounds.
Maggot shake.
Ew.
Maggot shake.
$4 fold. Got to hurt them boys, wine burial for gold.
Left, right, left. How long can we holler when it ain't no breath? You keep killing fathers without no regrets. Then keep on counting dollars till it ain't none left. So the streets gon' keep on marching like left, right, left. Fuck your empty promises, these ain't no threats. Streets is taking all of it, you made your bed. Fix it, always problems, we ain't going nowhere. Bring it straight up to your door, now who run it, ho? A knee and a neck is this week's symbol of shit you've been reaping. As a reaper of people, there's no equal to the police, and they be their own sequel. So consistently, as a monster, paid by a system set up to prosper on victims of the historic situating his property. People that are melanated, so easily separated. Know what? Fuck the history lesson, you know by now. We do not know how to keep playing dumb but still be trusted. With guns, you must be defunded. This march is not a one-off. This march is not the miss aim warning shot. This march, you're putting your fucking throat to choke out the whole assumption that you are here to protect us. This government doesn't respect us, and somehow they seem to expect us to accept the power of piece of shit playing the president wants to project. Fuck are you getting at? Get the fuck back in the bunker. We taking back spaces till you manage to make them safe for black faces. That's up to the fact that America's racist. Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Full stop. If you vote for him again, you're a white supremacist. Full stop. Call it like it is and then let the rim spin till they full stop. Put one up for Big Floyd. The marching's not going to stop.
Screwed up bitch, make the dollars fold. Got to hurt them boys, wine burial for gold. Screwed up bitch, make the dollars fold. Got to hurt them boys, wine burial for gold.
It go left, right, left. How long can we holler when it ain't no breath? You keep killing fathers without no regrets. Then keep on counting dollars till it ain't none left. So the streets gon' keep on marching like left, right, left. Fuck your empty promises, these ain't no threats. Streets is taking all of it, you made your bed. Fix it, always problems, we ain't going nowhere. Bring it straight up to your door, now who running, ho? You wanna shoot without being shot back? Got news for you, no one's really about that. You got the guns, but we got the shout, the vote, the mouthpiece, the clout, and the loud pack. Got guns too. You're fast, yeah, we doubt that. Show us receipts or we will denounce that. Take your tear gas, inhale like an ounce of that cookie cake. Your bullets all bounce. Even when they break flesh, you are not safe. We are watching every motherfucking move you make. Play it back on camera so no one can mistake the order of events that lead up to another life you take. And if the verdict come back less than murder, don't be surprised when your streets are burning. This anger ain't misplaced, it is turning cop cars to bonfires till you learn. If you profit off this system, you should make them dollars fold in the pockets that don't fund the death of black people. This whole fucking country about the money, so watch where your money go. Let them know that we watching how they roll. Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Full stop. If you vote for him again, you're a white supremacist. Full stop. America can be better, but we must call it out till it full stop. Put one up for Breonna. The marching not going to stop. Left, right, left. How long can we holler when it ain't no breath? You keep killing dollars without no regrets. And keep on counting dollars till it ain't none left. So the streets gon' keep on marching like left, right, left. Fuck your empty promises, these ain't no threats. Streets is taking all of it, you made your bed. Fix it, always problems, we ain't going nowhere. Bring it straight up to your door, now who running, ho?
Make the dollars fold.